Man, I love how hot Jeffrey Dahmer is. That mustache, those daggers for eyes. Wait, doesn't that sound weird to you out? It should. Welcome to the film industry, where they give white women the hot men they want. The fact that they play serial killers, rapists, or abusers is not a conflict of interest. I'll say it plain and simple. True crime romanticizes and undermines the seriousness of the topic. How do they do this? They purposely cast hot, attractive, and popular actors to play the roles of serial killers. The film industry prioritizes making money more than the feelings of the victims and their families. Its effects? Heartbreaking. Merch is being sold left and right, people are sending letters to these killers, and in the worst cases, professing their love for the killer, all because the true crime industry romanticizes these cases. True crime, for those, if any, that have been living under a fucking rock their entire life, are real things that have happened to people, with a slight fantasy twist or enhancement for visual and entertainment purposes.
As mentioned before, Jeffrey Dahmer, one of the most famous serial killers, he was born May 21st, 1960, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He is most known for killing and dismembering 17 people, though he was only charged with 16 first-degree counts of murder in 900 years. He was killed by a fellow inmate on November 28th, 1994. The inmate was later interviewed and he said he had a calling to kill Jeffrey. The actual Jeffrey Dahmer is low-key ugly. Even if a lot of the victims' families and friends said that he was quite charming with his presence and persona. Now, all of a sudden, once the famous actor Evan Peters, most known for this role and his role in American Horror Story, the fans went crazy, making TikToks with romantically popular elusive music in the background, taking away the seriousness of what he did to his victims. The American actor has made an effort to promote respect for the victims rather than the romanticism of his character, to no avail. Even going as far as to talk about the depressive episodes he went through during the filming process and afterwards because of how gruesome the acts truly were.
Ed Gein, otherwise known as the Butcher of Plainfield, or the Plainfield Ghoul, was born August 27th, 1906, and he is famously known for grave robbing and using their skin to create things, like a lamp or reupholstering chairs, or even making a bell out of nipples. I'm not going to show you these pictures, but they are available on Google. While in custody, he confessed to 2 murders, but it is suspected that he had as many as 9. His mother, Augusta, was his lifeline. He was obsessed with her even after she died. He kept her body and acted, treated, and talked about her like she was still alive. When he was arrested, he was found incompetent to stand trial and was sent to a psychiatric hospital where he spent the rest of his life. In the third season of Ryan Murphy's monster series, Charlie Hunnam was cast in the starring role of Ed Gein. There are so many scenes of him with his shirt off, for some reason, I don't know. The show also focuses on his love for dressing up in women's undergarments and parading around like a trophy to the deity he is. It's just so hard to see that and be like, oh my god, he's so hot, but he fucking killed people and used their skin for bodysuits.
Ted Bundy, otherwise known as both the Co-Ed Killer or the Lady Killer, was born November 24th, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont. He was known and responsible for the killings of multiple women for the early 60s to the late 70s. His first time going to prison was in the summer of 1975, when a police officer pulled him over and saw handcuffs, a rope, and a ski mask. Although it was his first time in prison, it certainly wouldn't be his last, because he was a mastermind at escaping. Eventually, when he was caught driving a stolen vehicle, he was arrested and later executed. Many movies and TV series that focus on Bundy, but I'm going to focus on the movie Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, which stars famous high school musical actor Zac Efron as Ted Bundy. Before filming, Efron was hesitant to play Bundy, knowing all the horrible things that he did. He thought the role would make an uneasy image for a known violent person and thought that people wouldn't separate him from the character. Following this, filming the movie, Efron stated that it was difficult to play Bundy, and after filming, it was difficult to separate himself from the role since he was so deeply immersed in playing this vicious character. What made it harder for him was the romanticism of his character, all the edits of him, most of them with trending sounds, one called Love on the Brain. Just disgusting.
Menendez brothers, 21-year-old Joseph Lyle Menendez, commonly known as Lyle, and 18-year-old Eric Gala Menendez, shot and killed their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, on August 20th, 1989 in Beverly Hills. The trial didn't focus on whether or not the brothers were guilty of killing their parents, but rather if they were justified in doing so. The brothers' argument was that they were sexually and physically abused by their father. First, Lyle when he was 6, then Lyle started doing it to Eric as a sense of urgency. Then, once Lyle was 8, Jose started doing it to Eric as well. The prosecutor's defense was that if they were truly being abused, why did they kill their parents instead of, I don't know, telling somebody? Prosecutor's words, not mine. And why, once they were dead, why did they go on a shopping spree after shopping spree before having even heard the reading of the will? Financial gain, presumably. Here's the twist. The Menendez brothers are actually hot. Compared to every other serial killer, I mean, just look at John Wayne Gacy. And the casting of Cooper Knock as Eric and Nicholas Alexander Chavez as Lyle only intensified this to the extreme. There are even more pics of them shirtless and even a couple of scenes where everything is shown. Again, I'm not going to show you, but it is available on episode 3. These scenes create a sharp contrast when the trial is shown, when Eric and Lyle are talking about the abuse they suffered at the hands of their parents. The edits for the Menendez brothers are by far the worst in terms of the quantity of them. Just left and right, I see them everywhere. However disturbing, Lyle commented on the show saying that although he wishes that his life wasn't glamorized like that, he does say that he is grateful that it allowed more people to open their eyes and realize that just because the family looks perfect on the outside doesn't mean it actually is.
I know we've been talking about some dark shit, so here's some bloopers from the recording process to lighten the mood before we go back into it.
The cannonball. True crime for any. Fuck. It was later interviewed and. Fuck. 1960. And Wakanda. Family victims. Girl. One job.
1906 is famous.
Wait, that's one day past my birthday.
Ew! Brave you!
Cannot say suspected. This is completely Charlie's fault. Hey, baby. On August 20th, 1989, in Beverly Hills. Oh my god, Taylor Swift's birthday year.
Women are the most likely to be the victim of a crime, especially in a romantic relationship or of sexual abuse. However, commonly known, they are the ones who are watching most of the true crime content, and therefore the film industry will cater to their wants, needs, and desires. This is a phenomenon that I'm still trying to understand. This is what my research has found. 1. Every female wants to be a heroine of the story, something that producers oblige either by giving the FMC everything she wants or vindicate or honor their inevitable death. 2. The true crime genres highlights toxic traits in both the FMC and the MMC. This allows women to know what to look out for in their relationships that could be big red flags, and thus avoid them. And 3. Lust can overtake every other feeling, thought, or action no matter how red the flag is. This translates back to the real world. For example, some women, after they watch this content, send letters, gifts, money, or even spicy pictures of themselves, proclaiming that they are in love with the serial killer themselves. Take Richard Ramirez, you may know him as the Night Stalker. For example, while he was awaiting execution, he married an obsessed journalist who truly believed that they were meant to be together.
This has become a billion-dollar industry where t-shirts, stickers, home decor, and makeup bags are sold with taglines or a sort of spew that feels like they are endorsing the actions of the serial killer. But there are hundreds of examples, but these are the ones that stick out the most to me. A t-shirt that reads, "Choke me like Bundy and eat me like Dahmer," and a sticker that says, "Ted Bundy is my spirit animal." And this doesn't even account for the memes, edits, smexy stories, and drawings, or fan fiction written about these serial killers. These companies and filmmakers only care about profit.
Some things already being done. For example, some high-profile cases aren't going to be televised. like the Ghislaine Maxwell case in 2021 and the current case of Luigi Mangione. But if we really want to stop this, then we must take further action. We should let the victims and their families control the narrative and allow them to tell their stories uncensored. There should be laws that say that you must obtain the victim's family or the victim's permission before making content about them, especially if it's for monetization and romantic purposes.